guys, welcome to Amy's Autopsy Report. My name's Amy. Hey guys, Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter. And obviously that was not my intro, so let me explain. I want to start out today with a very special shout out to Amy over at Amy's Autopsy Report. Amy recently reached her first 1,000 subscriber milestone, and she put a challenge out there to any of us who wanted to do a video impersonation of her intro, because Amy has one of the best intros I've seen on YouTube. So that's what that was. And Amy, I hope I did you justice. I did my best, Amy, but nobody does it like you. And I'm going to link Amy down in the description. If you like horror and you're into the whole horror scene, Amy is all about it. She has VHS collections, she does DVDs, she does mainstream films, she does obscure B films that I've never even heard of, but you know, she'll do a review on it and she knows all about it. And what a collection. She has a great collection. If you can look at her collection video where she shows off her room, she's got some awesome masks and some awesome memorabilia. Really nice, really cool stuff. So go over, check out Amy, give her a sub, show her some love, tell her I said hello, and yeah, I think you're going to be really happy. She's really cool. She's very interactive with her audience, so I think you're going to be happy with what she has to offer. So that's what that was all about. And happy Halloween! I hope everybody is having a fun and safe day. And what I decided to do, because it's Halloween, is I decided that we would talk about the Universal Monsters Blu-ray box set that I just picked up. Now this one contains all the Universal Monsters, and they threw in Phantom of the Opera. And usually it's on Best Buy for about $150. And Amazon has it for $115, but I got it on a flash sale on Amazon for, it was either $67 or $69, and I just, at $70, I couldn't pass it up. I mean, 30 films for $70, I couldn't pass it up. So I'm going to link it in the description, because we're going in, tomorrow's November. Can you believe, I can't even believe it's November already, but we're talking Black Friday. And, you know, you have Cyber Monday coming up and all those sales. So I would keep an eye on it. If you don't want to spend $115, keep an eye on it, mark it. So when they do have a flash sale, you can pick it up if it's something that you want to add to your collection. And if you are a collector and you're into the Universal Monsters, this is definitely, I can say that this is definitely the set you're going to want to get, because what they did is they were releasing these individual, they call them legacy sets, where they would do all the films from each monster. And they were releasing those, but you couldn't get all of them, and some of them were only available on Blu-ray, and some were DVD, and some of them were not available on Blu-ray, and there were some issues, I think, with the 3D on one of them. But what they did is they finally got it together, and they decided to package them all together and put them in one box set. So basically, these are just all the legacy sets and the Phantom of the Opera and an essay book put all together as one set, which I think was a really great idea. So now those individual sets that I picked up, I'm gonna have to find a place to sell, because I didn't have them all. They weren't all out, but I'm just happy with the box set. And as for the essay book, this is they did a really cool essay book. It talks about each movie. It talks about the actors. It talks about makeup. They show you the movie posters, original artwork. Here's talking about Bela Lugosi, and they go through and they talk about each one. And here's some really cool Frankenstein posters, if you can see those. But yeah, it's a really nice essay book, and if you're going to go out and you're going to get a collection like this, it's always nice to have the little extra. You know, I love my essay books, but it's always nice to have the little extra tidbits. Now, I'm not going to get into ranking these so much, because I have a really hard time. I love them all. I have a really hard time putting anyone last. But what I might do is let you know what my top 3 are, because they kind of rotate. They're always pretty much the same, but they kind of rotate which one's number 1 and which one's number 3. But I'll give you an idea on that. And if you think about it, these films they're just iconic, and their influence on the whole genre is just, it's undeniable. I mean, Phantom of the Opera became a Broadway play and subsequent major motion picture. And you have things like Creature from the Black Lagoon. If you watch that, I was just watching that yesterday, and I would swear parts of it, I was looking at Jaws. You have the woman swimming on top of the water. You have the creature underneath her. So there's all that influence there. And if you think about all the movies and all the content that have come from these Universal monsters, it's staggering. And their influence on the genre, it's just, like I said, it's undeniable. And I'm going to get into these, and if you've never seen the Munsters, I grew up watching the Munsters, so now you know I'm a fossil. But if you're not familiar with the Munsters, it was a sitcom that was really popular in the 60s and 70s. Google it, because obviously you're young if you don't know what it is, and that's a good thing if you're young. But Google the Munsters and you'll see that's another thing, that it came from the Universal Monsters. You have them all sitting right there on the cover, and it's a funny show, so check that out. But I'm going to get into each of these. I'll tell you what you get with each one. We'll talk about the transfer, we'll talk about the audio, and then, you know, you can decide for yourselves if this is the way to go for you. And the first one is Bela Lugosi in Dracula. This is the Dracula Legacy Collection. And what you get with this, you get the 6 films from the legacy of the original Dracula in HD. You have Dracula from 1931. You have Dracula's Daughter, Son of Dracula, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. So that's what you have with the Dracula Legacy. And then you have the main film is on a disc alone, but then they double up on the other ones. And they put them in these flip trays, which I'm fine with that. I'd much rather have them in this style than when they pile them on top of each other. I don't like it when they pile the discs on top of each other. But that's just me. I'm nitpicky. I'm a pain in the neck. But, yeah, Dracula looks great. They cleaned it up great. It looks really solid. I mean, you would never know this was from 1931. It looks fantastic. And this is one of those films I just love. Bela Lugosi is so stoic and so creepy in this. He really does a great job, and I love how they really focus on his eyes. This one and The Mummy are all about the eyes, but they did a really nice job with this one, and I think it cleaned up nicely, and it holds its own. It's Dracula. And when he turns into the bat, sure, you see some of the strings and whatnot, but when you think of the time when they were doing this, 1931, they didn't have all the special effects. They didn't have the CGI. They just had what they had to work with. And I think they did a really good job. And I think Dracula, it's a very simple story, but it's very effective. And that, I think, holds true for all these. They're simple but effective. And they just work. So, yeah, Dracula is the first one that we're going to talk about. And it's a good one. So definitely check that one out. And the next one is Frankenstein, which is, yes, another one of my favorites. And this one we have Boris Karloff is in this one, and what a fantastic job he does. We have Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, Son of Frankenstein, The Ghost of Frankenstein, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, House of Frankenstein, House of Dracula, and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. So it looks like we have a little bit of doubling up on some of these movies, but this says they're in HD, and again, this one looked great, and it's the same setup on the inside. Sorry, forgot to show you that. It's the same setup with the flip trays, but anyway, they did a really nice job. And Frankenstein it's a little bit of a tearjerker for a monster movie, because the monster isn't really the monster. The doctor, the crazy doctor, is the monster. And I think sometimes we forget that because we're so focused on the monster character, and, you know, he's going around, he's killing people and this and that, but why is he doing it? Because the doctor's crazy. But yeah, I always have a soft spot for Frankenstein. It's also one of my top 3, so now you know 2 of my top 3, Dracula and Frankenstein. But this looks great, and it cleaned up well, and the sound is great. And again, this is another one. It's a very simple concept, but it's very effective. And again, if you think about it, how much has come from this? And you even just the whole character of Bride of Frankenstein, even though she's not really in it all that much. But yeah, Bride of Frankenstein even came out of this. But yeah, every time I look at this, I think of Herman Munster. So again, Google the Munsters, you'll know what I'm talking about. And the next one is, of course, my number 3, The Mummy, and this also stars Boris Karloff, and this has the mummy, the mummy's hand, the mummy's tomb, the mummy's ghost, the mummy's curse, and Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy. And this one, I know some people aren't crazy about this one, but I really like it. I think it's different. And I think the special effects that they did were pretty good. I thought the whole, like, the pool they did, where he's looking into the pool to see what people are doing, and he's trying to kill them through the pool. I think that's pretty cool. But I thought The Mummy was a lot of fun, and I thought they did a really good job. And again, with the eyes, it's so creepy with the eyes. But I thought Boris Karloff, he did a great job. So stoic, and just, he's like stone, you know, and, you know, of course he turns to stone, but he's stone. But, yeah, The Mummy has always been a favorite, and, yeah, I mean, think about all the Mummy movies they've done. So, yeah, the influence of this is just undeniable. And like I said, it's another one. It's solid. It's a solid transfer. Everything looks really good on it. And then this one I just watched yesterday, Creature from the Black Lagoon. And this one on it has Creature from the Black Lagoon, Revenge of the Creature, and The Creature Walks Among Us. And the one I watched yesterday, Creature from the Black Lagoon, the original one, is from 1954. And I mean, look at him. He is scary. I thought the costume in this was great, and the makeup was great. Everything was great. And this is, like I said, this one, you could swear I was watching the underwater scenes, and when the creature is swimming underneath, the woman is on the surface, and the creature's swimming under her, my head went right to Jaws. It screamed Jaws. So I think that the influence of these films is just undeniable. You see little glimpses of different films as you're watching these, and I think every time I watch one of these, I take something else away from it. But yeah, Creature of the Black Lagoon, it's a good one, and really well done. And the next one is The Wolfman, and this one stars Lon Chaney, and he does a fantastic job as the Wolfman, great as the Wolfman. So you have your first one, Wolfman, you have Frankenstein meets Wolfman, House of Frankenstein again, House of Dracula again, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein. That's a very popular one, I guess. Werewolf of London and She-Wolf of London, which I don't know if I've seen those. But again, it's the same deal. I lost a disc there. Same deal. Flip case with the discs in there. But they do a really great job with this one, and this to me is very atmospheric in the way they have the fog and the scenes at the graves, very atmospheric. And I thought that they did a really good job. And think about all the werewolf movies that have come as a result of this. I mean, it's staggering and it's undeniable. But the transfer looks great. And you get a lot of content on this. This has 7 films on this one disc, on this one case. So, yeah, definitely worth a pickup. And this one goes from 1935 to 1948. So, Wolfman had quite a good run. And the last black and white one is The Invisible Man. And I don't know. Sometimes I really like The Invisible Man, and sometimes I'm like, you know. But it's cool, and the neat thing is you have The Invisible Man, The Invisible Man Returns, The Invisible Woman, The Invisible Agent, The Invisible Man's Revenge, and Abbott and Costello meet The Invisible Man. Abbott and Costello get around. But it's really cool because you have an actor playing the Invisible Man, and then he takes off his bandages and there's no one there. So it's pretty cool that they were able to do that. And again, that's in 1933, so they were doing some pretty cool things way back when. And this is another one. It looks great. The transfer is clean. The audio is good. Everything about it works. And like I said, this isn't my favorite in the collection, but by no means do I not like it. It's just, it's not one that I go to as often as some of the other ones. Some of the, like Dracula or The Mummy, I might, you know, or Creature from the Black Lagoon, I might pick those up first. But yeah, this is a good one, The Invisible Man. I mean, it's a solid one. Now, this last one, they threw in Phantom of the Opera, and it's just a standalone. It doesn't have any other films with it. This one was from 1943. Now, what throws me with this one is it's the only one that's in color. I feel like these classics, they're supposed to be in black and white. That's the feeling you want to get. That's where you go when you want to watch a classic. Personally, I enjoy the black and white. But The Phantom of the Opera is a compelling story, and the singing, the opera singing is beautiful. The costumes are amazing, and the story, I think it's okay. I like it. I don't really consider it so much a monster movie, but they threw it in here. But I do like Phantom of the Opera again, as a standalone, not necessarily in a monster movie context, but I guess you could throw it in there. But again, they did a really good job with it, and obviously it's a huge hit. I mean, it became a Broadway play and a major motion picture, and it's just one of those stories that kind of sucks you in. But, you know, there's some weird things that go on there, like there's just happens to be acid sitting around to throw in his face, so there's some kind of weird things, weird placement of things, but I think overall it's a solid one, and I think as it evolved, it became a really, really great and popular, obviously very, very popular story. So yeah, Phantom of the Opera, I'm glad they threw it in here, but yeah, it's a good one. So that is the complete Universal Monsters box set. That's everything you get in the box set, and again, like I said, I'm going to link it in the description. Keep an eye out for those flash sales because I'm sure they're going to be coming, because definitely at $70 it's worth a pickup. Even at $115 I would probably go for it, but I would just hold off and see what they do for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. So that's going to do it for me today. We're heading into November and back to the Criterion sale, so you guys can expect a lot of Criterion content coming up. And I want to thank you guys for hanging with me with the horror content for October. It was a lot of fun. I picked up a lot of new horror movies thanks to you guys and your recommendations. I'm actually going to do a horror haul next so that you guys can see what I picked up over the month of October, and I really enjoyed doing it. And I am going to keep horror in the rotation because now that I've gotten back into it and I'm building up my collection, I'm going to keep doing some horror content for you guys because I think I enjoy it, and it seems like you guys enjoy it. But yeah, definitely you have some Criterion content to look forward to and some other fun things that I have planned. We're going to mix things up a little bit. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you so much for watching as always. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell, share the video around. You know how YouTube works. I appreciate anything you guys do. And that's going to do it for me today. So until next time, that's a wrap.